Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Perfect. Okay, we are gonna get started because I want to make sure that you guys get all of the goods. Hello, Clarissa here, and you are here for day one of Smart Enough, the art of becoming a good student. I am so freaking thrilled to be doing this 3-day masterclass series for all of you. And here is the reason why. Because after working with over 425 students plus, I know what works to become a good student, get A's and B's, have study-free weekends, be able to balance it all with motherhood, working, wanting to do other activities, getting your grade back up, getting back in the groove after being out of school for years on end. And I also know all of the BS stories that you're hearing from study YouTubers and all of these different things that are just causing you a lot of confusion, making it seem more complicated than it is. I promise you, I am not like a genius. I didn't go from failing out of 7 classes to graduating with honors because I'm this brilliant and smart person. Yes, that is somewhat true. But really, it was just me figuring out the really simple things that I needed to do. There are only 3 things that you need to do to become a good student, and that's what I'm going to be covering over these next 3 days. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Number 1, pull out a pen and a paper if you don't have it with you already. I want you to show up tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday as though you paid $3,500 to take this masterclass. I want you to show up like you actually want to become a good student. I want you to show up like you care about yourself, like you care about your success, like you care about your education. So pull out that pen and a paper right now. The second thing that I want you to do is snap a picture of me right now. Go ahead, whip out your phone. I will pose again. And tag me on Instagram. Let your friends know that you are attending this masterclass on how to become a good student. You're going to look so good to them because you shared this with them. Have them sign up, go through this together, rise up together. Like, let your whole squad, your whole group of girlfriends be the smart ones in your college. Why don't you guys all get degrees together? Why don't you guys all succeed together? Why don't you guys all like lift each other, like bring other people with you? Don't hoard this information for yourself. I promise you, your friends are going to thank you for it. And let's go ahead and get into it. The second thing that I want you guys to do, sorry, that's the third thing. Hey, Tyrone, is if you are on Facebook with us, if you are here on Zoom with us, the chat is where you want to be engaging. Okay, the way that you're going to get the most out of this is if you're taking notes. You're going to find out why that's really important when I get into routines later, study routines later. And I also want you engaging in the chat, in the comments. Like every time I'm asking you a question, engage. This is how you start showing up today like a good student. So let's dive into it. The very first thing that I want you guys to understand is, again, with working with over 425 students, there is a pattern that I see between the students who continue to struggle semester after semester after semester and never really fully get it together, and the students who go from being that struggling student to then being a good student. And the pattern is this: the students who continue to struggle semester after semester after semester. The reason why they continue to struggle is because their focus and attention is 1,000% on all of the reasons why they can't succeed. Their thought and attention are on all of the problems that they currently have. Their thoughts, their focus is on what's not working right now. They feel the pain, the stress, the overwhelm of what's happening to them in the semester. And although they have a desire to change things and they want to become a good student, the reason why they never go from point A to point B is because they don't even know what point B is. They don't even know what it looks like. They have no idea of what the opposite of their current situation is. And when you don't have that clarity, when you don't know where you're going, when you don't know what kind of college experience it is that you want, when you don't know what kind of note-taking experience it is that you want, when you don't know what kind of grades it is that you want, when you don't know how much free time you want to give yourself, when you don't have that clearly defined, you're missing the map, right? So it's hard to come up with the steps in between when you don't even know where you're going. So when you get stuck in your current circumstance, when you get caught in your current situation, when you get caught in your current drama, all of the stories, the things that you're telling yourself, the negative things that you're focusing on, your time, your attention, your focus just continues to go to the problem. And when you're focused on the problem, the thing that you're not focused on is the solution. So in the chat right now, I want you, if you're watching on Facebook, put it in the comments. If you're here with me on Zoom in the chat, I want you to tell me, what do you think is the reason that you are not already a good student? And I'm going to put good student in air quotes because a good student is going to look different for every person. So when you, in your mind, think of yourself being a good student, what does that person look like? How do they study? How do they show up? What are they doing differently that you're currently not doing? And tell me what you think is the number one reason why you're not already a good student. I'm going to share with you what other students have shared with me before on what keeps them from being a good student. So probably the number one reason why students say there's no way that I could be a good student, or this is the reason why I'm still struggling, is because they don't know how to balance college and life. They don't have time. They don't know how to manage their time. That's what students tell me all of the time. I don't know how to manage my time. I don't know how much time to give myself. I can't figure it out. The second reason is that they don't know how to study. I don't know how to take my notes. I don't know what's important. I don't know what my professor is going to test me on. I don't know how to succeed. No one ever sat down and taught me. I'm winging this. I never had to study before. I was always just, an A student, and I didn't really have to put in much effort. But then I got to college and things are different, and I just can't figure it out. Students tell me it's because they have a reading comprehension issue. That's the reason why they can't be a good student. I get students who tell me all the time, it's because I have to work full time. I have to work part time. I have to put myself through college. I just can't focus on college alone. And that's the reason why I'm not as good as everybody else. That's the reason why I don't get A's and B's. Students tell me all the time it's because they're confused about what to focus on. They don't know what should get priority. They don't know what's important. They don't know what key things their professor wants them to know, right? And because I haven't figured that out yet, I can't be a good student. I can't get the grades it is that I want that are going to help me in the next phase of my life. They didn't come from good schooling. Oh, this was mine. This was like the main reason why I believe that I was failing out of 7 classes. My story was I grew up in the hood, okay? The school system was terrible. I never had a test in I think maybe when I did spelling tests in like elementary school, but I never really took a test. I did take tests in middle school, but I never really had to take like a test in high school. Like the notes were all in front of me. I never had to recall anything from my brain. As long as you didn't throw a chair at your teacher, you got to pass the class. As long as you showed up and did your work, you did really well. So yes, I graduated second in my high school. I was salutatorian, but I didn't really have to work hard for it. It was just handed to me because I was quote unquote good in the sense of like I never caused any trouble. I always handed in my work. I actually was there to learn, but no one taught me how to use the planner. No one taught me how to read for comprehension. No one taught me how to take notes. And so when I got to college and I'm looking at all of these, frankly, like all these white kids that came from preparatory school, because I went to a really expensive private college here in the state of Rhode Island, where kids have a lot of money. They come from rich backgrounds, really well educated. I'm like, how do they know what to write down? How do they know how to study? How do they know? Like, the reason why I'm failing is because my parents are immigrants. I'm first generation, and no one's teaching me, no one's supporting me, right? The second, another reason why students tell me that they can't be a good student is because they have kids. My kids are home all the time now because of COVID. I don't have any space for myself. It's hard being a mom, working full time and going to school full time. It is hard, but it's still doable. I'm an older student. I've been out of school for like 10 years. I'm out of the game. I am intimidated by all of these younger kids in my class, and that's the reason why I'm not a good student yet. I've been out of school for a while. My professor sucks. He doesn't know how to teach. Never even gives us the PowerPoints. Doesn't give us a study. It doesn't tell us what's going to be on the exam. He sucks, and that's the reason every professor I've had in college so far sucks. They don't know how to teach. They don't care about their students. They just fail everybody, and it's just awful. And that's the reason why I can't be a good student. I don't have any support. I'm first generation. My parents never went to college. Nobody's helping me at this college and university. They're taking my money semester after semester, but no one's telling me what to do and how to succeed. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at science. I'm not good at memorizing. I'm not a good writer. That's the reason why I can't be a good student. I haven't figured that out yet. I've failed before. I've been in college before, and I failed out, and I had to switch colleges. I got kicked out of my major, got kicked out of my program. I failed chemistry before, and I'm going to fail it again if I take it. That's the reason why I can't be a good student. All of these reasons here's what I want to tell you. I do not consider any of these reasons excuses. And the reason why I don't consider them excuses is because I think it's offensive to tell somebody that the reason why they're not a good student, the reason why they're not succeeding is because they don't want it bad enough. I'm going to close my window. Because we all know how it goes in summertime. People are always like driving around with music on blast, windows down. So I close my window. If I start sweating, I apologize. I'm in like a sunroom, but I had to close the window. So I don't consider these excuses. I also don't consider them problems, right? The reason why I don't consider them excuses is because, like I said, I find it offensive. I don't think that the reason why you're not a good student isn't because you don't want it bad enough. I don't think that that's the reason. I know that you want it bad enough. Otherwise, you wouldn't be taking up student loans. You wouldn't be retaking classes. You wouldn't be showing up in the best way that you know how if you didn't care. I know you care. I know you want it. But here's the thing. Right now, your brain, I want you to hear this. Your brain thinks that it needs to solve all of these problems before it can become a good student. It thinks it needs to figure out how to study around the kids. It thinks that it needs to figure out reading comprehension. It thinks it needs to figure out time management. It thinks it needs to figure out how to study. It thinks it needs to figure out how to be the older student in your courses. It thinks it needs to figure out your professor. Your brain thinks it needs to figure out how to never fail a class before you can become a good student. It sees all of these things here as a problem. And until it can figure it out and figure it out perfectly, it will not let you become a good student. That's what your brain is telling you right now. And here's what I want to tell you. None of this is a problem. None of it is a problem. It is not a problem. It is not a problem that you have 7,002 kids and you're working full time and going to school full time. It's not a problem. It's not a problem that you have a hard time with reading comprehension. It's not a problem that you don't know how to manage your time. It's not a problem that you came from the hood and your school system sucked. It's not a problem that your professor literally sucks. It is not a problem that you've failed a class before. It is not a problem that you're working while you're in college because you either want to or have to. It is not a problem that you're always confused. You never know what's going on in class. That's not a problem. I have had students in all sorts of situations, the messiest of personal lives and situations. And despite all that, they've been able to become good students. Because here is the secret that no one's going to explain to you the way that I'm going to explain it to you. There's literally only 3 things that you need to focus on to become a good student. It has nothing to do with you changing your life circumstances. Nothing in your life needs to change. Listen, I'm going to come up real close. Nothing in your life needs to change in order for you to become a good student. Nothing in your life needs to change in order for you to become a good student. You don't need to put your kids in foster care. I'm joking. I know you guys never. You don't need to do that. You do not need to quit your job. You do not need to go out and buy a planner. You do not need to switch professors or majors. You do not need to cut back on your classes. You do not need to figure out reading comprehension. You do not need to change your entire life in order to become a good student. None of that needs to happen. The only things that you need to do are these 3 simple steps. And over the course of these next couple days, I'm going to walk you through this step by step. By the end of this Smart Enough, The Art of Becoming a Good Student free masterclass series, and by the end of the 3rd day, you're going to have a complete package. You are going to know exactly what to do for your summer term. You're going to know exactly what to do for the fall. You're not going to be confused anymore. You're not going to think that your current life circumstances hold you back. You are going to be a completely different person. I just need you to stick with me for all 3 days. I'm going to give it all to you. You just need to meet me halfway and stick through it, okay? Because I'm simplifying how to become a good student. You're never going to have to struggle again. I promise you this, okay? The first thing that you need to do to become a good student is just make a schedule. Listen, listen, listen. I know. You're going to tell me, really? You're having me watch this right now for you to tell me to make a schedule? Do you not already think that I'm making a schedule? Please just stick with me, okay? Just stick with me, I promise. You just need to make a schedule. Make a schedule, okay? The second thing that you need to do to become a good student is you need to make a study plan or a study routine, if that's how you prefer to phrase it. Listen, I know what's going through your mind. Oh, if I knew how to make a study plan, don't you think I would have done it? You don't think I'm already creating a study plan, Clarissa? It's not working. The schedule isn't working. The study plan isn't working. None of it's working. Stick with me. Promise. I got you. The third thing that you need to do to become a good student is you need to tell yourself a better story about you, about your life, about your situation. That's it. That is it, okay? You're going to watch a lot of YouTube videos, okay? And those YouTube videos are going to give you a long list of apps to download. They're going to give you a long list of different ways that you can read your textbook. They're going to give you a long list of different ways that you can take your notes. They're going to talk about retrieval practice. They are going to talk about the Pomodoro method. They're going to tell you to buy this planner and plan like this. And they're going to tell you to set goals like that. And they're going to tell you, this is what you have to study 7 hours a day. No, you need a morning routine is what you need. And then you need an evening routine. And then you need to figure out how to create habits. That's what these YouTube videos are going to tell you. And you're going to be super inspired and super motivated, and they're going to draw you in with all their colors and their beautiful setup and this app that looks really cool. And a week later, you're going to find yourself still confused, still overwhelmed, still stressed out, still failing. Because what happens is they throw so much at you that you don't know what to pick. You don't know what to do. You stay stuck in confusion. And when you're in confusion, you don't take any action because you're too afraid. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's going to get me what I want. And this is why my students get the results that they get, because I teach them 3 simple things that they need to focus on to become a good student. Okay? This is it. Now, here is what's going to happen. Here is where I told you, like, please stick with me, because I know you're like, I'm already creating a schedule. I already tried to create a study plan. None of it's working. Okay? The only 2 reasons. See how passionate I am? The only 2 reasons you're not already a good student. Write this down. The only 2 reasons why you're not already a good student is because you're not doing these 3 steps effectively. So you're doing it, I don't like to say wrong. It's not effective, right? And for something to be effective, it means it needs to get you the result you want. How you know you're not creating a schedule effectively, and you're not creating a study plan effectively, and you're not telling yourself a better story effectively, is if the grades you want, you don't have them. And if the time that you want to get them in, meaning the time that you want to study and have free time, it's not happening for you. So if you're not getting the grades you want and the time that you want, you know that the reason is because you're not doing your schedule effectively, and you're not creating your study plan effectively, and you're not telling yourself a better story effectively. The better story thing I'm going to get into in a second, okay? The second reason why you're not already a good student, and these are the only 2 reasons, okay? Remember this long list? Where is it? Remember this long list of all the reasons why you said you're not a good student? That's not why. That's not why. It is not why. Repeat after me in the chat, everybody, in all caps. My life circumstance is not the reason why I'm not a good student, okay? This is not the reason why. The only 2 reasons is because you're not doing the 3 steps effectively, because that's all it takes. And when I say effectively, I don't mean wrong. I just mean that what you're doing, the way that you're doing it right now, isn't getting you the result that you want. And how you know that's the case is if you're not getting the grades it is that you want, you don't have the amount of free time that you want, you're not being as present with your kids as you want, things are taking longer than you want, that's how you know it's ineffective, if it's not getting you the result that you want. So I need you to take an honest look at yourself right now. There is no judgment here, no shame here. Okay, the only way that you're going to be able to turn things around is if you are honest with yourself. Okay, so you're either ineffective in creating your schedule, creating your study plan, and telling yourself a better story, or the second reason is you're not doing it at all. Okay, now I'm going to get real specific with you here because you're going to tell me you are. Okay, you're going to use these very specific words, which I'm going to talk about in the next flip chart. Okay, but it's because you're not, how you know you're not doing it at all. Okay, because your brain's going to tell you, no, I am creating my schedule and I am creating a plan. How you know you're not is if you're watching YouTube videos on how to make it perfect, how to find the perfect plan. If you find yourself watching video after video after video, and then next week, another video and another video and another video, and then 3 weeks from now, another video and another video and another, you're not doing it. If you're avoiding your work via your favorite procrastination activity, cleaning, over planning, rewriting your notes, working on another assignment instead of the class that you know you should be focusing on, laundry, Netflix, social media, YouTube videos on how to become a better student, because that's productive. If you're complaining, if you spend most of your time complaining about how nothing is working and how hard it is and how you can't figure it out, that's how you know you're not actually doing it at all. And when I talk about doing it, what I mean are the 3 things that I talked about: making a schedule, creating a study plan, and telling yourself a better story about yourself. Those are the only 3 things that you need to be focusing on if you want to become a good student. Okay? The issue that happens, and this is the reason why you get stuck in this cycle of like you try something for like a couple weeks and it doesn't work, and then you're looking for something else to do, and then you try that for a couple weeks and it doesn't work, is because often what I find with students is that they're too close to the problem to see what the problem actually is. So you think it's, I don't have time, and you think it's, I'm bad at reading comprehension, and you think it's, I'm bad at time management, and you think it's, I'm not writing my notes in the right way, and you think it's my professor, and you think it's, no, because my kids are around, and you think it's, no, it's because, you know, I didn't come from good schooling, and you think, oh no, it's because I've been out of school for 10 years. You start to make your circumstances the reason why you're not getting the grades it is that you want. Find yourself in this cycle of trying things over and over, quitting, failing, dropping out, telling yourself you're not smart, I'm not cut out for this, etc. And it's because you don't really know what the actual problem is, because you're too close to it. You're swimming in your own drama. You're so in the jello of all of the negative things that are happening that you don't actually see what's happening, the reason why you can't get yourself out. And this is why I love working with students as an academic life coach, because what happens is, it's like I'm at the top of the mountain, right? I've already reached there. I've already been there myself, and I've already brought up 425 plus other students with me. So I know what it's going to take. You're down here trying to get up the mountain. I'm up here. Looking down, I see all of the obstacles that you're going to go through. I see all of the problems that you're going to run into. I see the reason why you got stuck halfway up the mountain and couldn't make it all the way up. You being down here, you don't see everything that's up ahead of you. You don't know what the problem is. And so it's hard for you to get up here. But when someone has an objective view, they can see all of you. They can see all of your patterns. They can see all of what you're doing. I'm able to pinpoint, no, it's not actually that your kids are around all the time. That's not the problem. That's not the reason why you're not a good student. No, it's not that you have terrible reading comprehension. That's not the problem. Some of you, you're so involved in your story and your drama and your life, because when you're in it, it sucks. When you're the one failing class after class after class, it sucks, and you have so many emotions that it clouds your judgment. That's physiology. When you're so emotionally invested, your thinking part of your brain, the part of your brain that can solve problems, it shuts off. So your next step could be so clear and so simple right in front of you, and you won't see it because you're in all of your drama. Okay? So that's why it's really helpful to work with someone like me, an academic life coach, because I am not swimming in your drama. I'm not in it. I can see things objectively. My smart, my thinking part of my brain is always on when I'm coaching you. Okay? So we talked about the only 2 reasons why you're not already a good student. Number 1, you're not doing those 3 steps effectively. Number 2, you're not doing it at all. And the reason why you're not doing it effectively, or the reason why you're not doing it at all, is because you're trying to make it work, i.e. you're just not doing it, or you don't believe you're a good student. This right here is the most important piece, and I'm going to explain to you why it's the most important piece. But this trying to make it work will kill you. It will kill you. It will prevent you from becoming a good student. The amount of times that I get on Zoom calls with students and they're like, I tried to make a schedule and I tried to make a study plan, and I'm sitting there looking at them like this. So when you say try, do you mean that you actually sat down this Sunday and planned out everything that you were doing for this week? Oh, no, I just thought about it. Okay, so when you told me that you tried to create a study plan, so you're telling me that you sat down, you looked at your syllabus, you looked at what was coming up, you looked at what your professor considers to be important, and you decided, this is what I'm going to do to learn the information, this is what I'm going to do to make sure I'm prepared for the exam, this is what I'm going to do to get help. Oh, no, I was just thinking about what I need to do, right? So when you're saying trying, okay, if you're trying looks like you thinking about it and telling yourself you should, you're not actually doing it. So when you say the reason why it's not effective is because you're not doing it, because you're trying. When you're trying is not doing. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. Trying doesn't exist. Okay? By the way, okay. The second reason, this is the most important reason why you're probably not doing it, or even if you are, it's not effective. It's because you don't actually believe you're a good student. How you know you believe you're a good student, okay? This is the reason how you know that you believe that you're a good student, is when you act in accordance to the vision you have of yourself as a good student. So remember at the beginning of this masterclass day 1, I asked you to think about what your vision of a good student is. And I asked you what you think is still getting in your way. How you know if you actually believe that you are a good student, no matter what, is if you act in accordance to what you think a good student should do. So if you are not creating a schedule, if you're not creating a study plan, if you are procrastinating, if you are telling yourself a story about why you can't, if you're telling yourself a story about all the limitations that you see in front of you, if you're telling yourself a story about why it won't ever work for you, if you are never sitting down to work on your math problems, if you're never going to office hours, if you're never asking for help, if you are not doing, if you're not writing your notes, if you're not reading when you said that you were going to read, if you are not deciding ahead of time how long things are going to take you, if you're not doing any of those things, you don't believe you're a good student. And this is what kills students all of the time, is that they don't actually believe that they're a good student. And because they don't believe that they're a good student, they don't act in accordance to the way a good student would act. When you believe you're a good student, you show up like one. You're creating a schedule consistently. You're creating a study plan and following through on it consistently. You're asking the question, even if you think it's a dumb question. You're going to the office hours. You're sitting down and work on those math problems, even though it's hard and it requires a lot of effort. You are retaking that class. You are signing up for things. You are deciding ahead of time how long things are going to take you. You are doing the reading, even though it's boring and it takes forever. And sometimes you don't understand what you're reading. You go to the writing center and ask for help. You do all these things that you're avoiding doing when you don't believe you're a good student. When you are a good student, you are showing up. Even when it feels hard, even when you're not like super solid with the material, even when you're confused, even when you're overwhelmed, even when you're stressed. Most students do not believe this. They don't believe that they're a good student because they think that in order to believe this, they have to have the grades. They have to have the study-free time. They have to have the perfect schedule. They have to have the perfect plan. Everything has to go perfectly in my mind, the way that I envision it, in order for me to call myself a good student. Your job, if you are on this masterclass, if you signed up for this because you are like, most students work with me when they've hit rock bottom. Like they failed so many classes, they've been kicked out, they've switched programs, they're on their 6th year in college. They come to me when they're like on their last straw. If that's you tonight, I'm speaking to you right now, okay? There is hope. There is hope. It is possible for you. It is. The only things you have to focus on, your only job, listen to me, your only job from now until you finish this summer term, from now until you finish your fall term, from now until you graduate, your only job is to tell yourself a better story about you. Okay, this is you telling yourself, I am a good student. It is possible for me to do this. None of these things have to mean anything. My background doesn't matter. How many kids I have doesn't matter. How many hours I work a week doesn't matter. Whether or not I failed this class in the past doesn't matter. Most of you are using your past or current circumstances to dictate your future. Okay. Your future needs to be created not from what is currently happening or what has happened in the past. Because if you focus on what is currently happening and what has happened in the past, you're going to create more of the same. In order for you to create a different future, you have to think differently. You have to tell yourself a different story. You have to tell yourself something better, because what you're currently telling yourself is getting you the results you have right now. The only way it's going to change is if you change the story, you change the belief first, okay? You got to tell yourself a better story. That's like, I want you to, like, if I, like, act like I'm paying you to do this. Tell yourself a better story about you. The second thing is you need to show up like you believe it. And how you will know that you actually believe it is if you are making a schedule consistently and you're making a study routine and following through. Because if you focus on these two things, if you're doing the making a schedule, you're making your study routine and you're following through, you're going to build the belief that you're a good student because now you have the evidence. But the only way that you can get the evidence is to believe it first, okay? Becoming a good student happens in your mind first. You have to believe it before you have the grades to back it up. Because otherwise, you're not going to show up like a good student. If you believe that you're a failure, if you believe that you're a procrastinator, if you believe that you are too old to be in school, if you believe that you don't ever manage your time properly, if you believe that you are not good at reading, you're going to avoid reading. And guess what? You never get better at reading. If you think that you're bad at time management, guess what? You're never going to make a schedule, and then you never become good at time management. If you believe that your kids are the reason, then your kids will always be the reason why you never graduated college. Because you're never going to try, because they're the reason. They're the reason. Can't do it while they're still around. And guess what? They're probably going to be around forever. Hopefully, you know. You have to become a good student in your mind first before the grades and the evidence will ever come. Because if you don't believe you're a good student first, you're not going to do the things that good students do. And if you don't ever do the things that good students do, then you never get the grades that good students get because you're never doing the work that good students do. Are you following? Is this making sense? Let me take a pause here. Let's see. Okay, there's still 12 of you on. So is everyone following? Like, is this making sense? Take a pause here and drink water. So you have to become a good student in your mind first. The belief has to come first. Your actions will always match your current level of belief. There is no way around it. It is science. It is physiology. It is the way life works. You will always act in accordance to who you believe you are. Always. If you identify yourself as a procrastinator, you will always do things at the last minute. If you tell yourself the reason why I can't succeed as a college student is because I am a single mom who has to work full time, guess what? Then that gets to always be the reason why you never did it. If you tell yourself the reason why I cannot pass chemistry is because I failed it once before, then you're going to show up like a student who's failed it once before because you're never going to try. You're never going to make the schedule, ask the questions, try to, do the practice problems, get through them. Because your belief is it doesn't matter anyway. It's probably not going to work. This is always going to be an obstacle for me. I'm just not good at that. When those are the stories that you're telling yourself, okay, when that's the narrative that you're running your life from, you're just going to create more of the same. You're going to stretch out that chapter for the rest of your life, and that's what your whole life is going to be. You have to turn to a blank page and decide for yourself what the rest of the story is going to look like. Because if you keep telling yourself the current story, which is your current belief about yourself, about what you believe is or isn't possible as a student, you're going to create whatever you believe because it's the way that it works. Your actions will always match your current level of belief in yourself. Always. This is laws of the universe. This is how it works, okay? So this is you. I want to help you to understand this a little bit better. This is you right now, okay? And all of this is what's available to you, always. It's available to you right now. Scholarships are available to you right now. Getting straight A's is available to you right now. Study-free weekends, available to you right now. More time, available to you right now. More presence with your kids, available to you right now. Making the dean's list, available to you right now. Earning this degree, available to you right now. Medical school, available to you right now. Graduate school, available to you right now. Maintaining a job while you're in college, available to you right now. Mentorship, available to you right now. Good professors, available to you right now. A higher paying job because you got the degree, available to you right now. Dream future life, available to you right now. Thriving relationships, even while you have a full workload. 12 kids, a husband that needs you, a job that needs you. It's all available. All of this exists in your reality right now. It exists. This is quantum physics, FYI. When people talk about manifestation, this is what they're talking about. These are all possibilities. They're all available as possibilities to you right now, okay? The way that it becomes your current reality is if your belief that it's possible for you is there, okay? The moment that you believe it's possible for me to earn scholarships, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe that it's possible for you to earn A's, it becomes available. The moment you believe it's possible to have study-free weekends, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe that it's possible for you to have more time, even though you're in school full time, have 7 jobs and 12 kids and 2 husbands, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe you can be present with your kids even during the busiest time of the semester, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe it's possible for you to get on the dean's list, it becomes available. The moment that you believe that earning this degree is possible, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe that you can have this dream life that you're going to college for, it becomes available for you. The moment that you believe that you can have a job that earns you crazy money so you can live this dream life that this degree allowed you, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe that you can have thriving relationships while in college, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe that you mentorships are, it becomes available to you. The moment that you believe that you can maintain your job, it becomes available to you. Why? Why is that the case? Because the belief allows you to ask the question, how? It's a switch in your brain from I can't because insert, don't have good reading comprehension. I'm not good at managing my time. I went to a terrible school system. I have 7 husbands. Whatever your reason is for why you can't, insert that here. The moment that your belief shifts to possibility, how becomes part of the picture, and I can't because becomes I can because. This, I'm going to swear, is the shit that nobody's teaching. This is why my students are able to shift so quickly. This is why they get the results that they get. Because while everyone else is focusing on this is what you need to do, and this is the app you need, and the Pomodoro, and the Cornell, and the this, and the that, and the blah, 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 having you all confused, chasing your tail around, my students are over here focusing on 3 simple things. I'm gonna make a schedule, I'm gonna make a study plan, and I'm gonna change the story I'm telling about myself. From I can't because to I can because. The moment that you switch to from it is not possible to it is possible, you introduce possibility and how. And all of a sudden, all of these things that you didn't see as part of your future become part of your future. It is all available to you right now. As long as you are willing to believe that it is possible. I don't even need you to believe like 100% right now. I just need you to be willing to believe that it could be possible for you. Because the moment that you introduce this belief, the how gets introduced, and now the actions get revealed to you, okay? This got really messy real quick, but the actions get revealed to you. And so your actions are going to match this belief. So if you believe that scholarships are available to you, you're going to look for scholarships. But if you don't believe that you can earn scholarships, you're not going to even bother looking for them, okay? If you believe that it's possible to have a thriving relationship while you're in college full time, guess what you're going to do? You're going to look for how. You're going to start paying attention to your husband. You're going to, or your partner, or whatever it is, right? But if you don't believe it's possible, you're not going to put the effort in. This is the game changer. This is what you're not going to get from a YouTube video, because they can't get this deep with you the way that I can as an academic life coach. And I'm so good at what I do, like so good. I'm opening up my one-on-one spots right now. I have 10 of them, 4 are already gone, and I haven't even announced it really yet. These next 2 weeks, I'm like really going full force and like opening up the doors. So if you want one, you need to snatch it up fast. But this is what makes the difference, okay? If you want to become a good student, all you have to do is match your belief to it. Decide to tell yourself a better story about you, your life, and your circumstances. The moment that you do that, you are going to start showing up like the student who is a good student. And because you're showing up like a good student, you get grades that a good student gets. And then those grades become evidence for you to continue believing that. But it has to happen in your mind first. You have to decide ahead of time who you're going to be. That self-concept work, that's what that's called. Self-concept is your identity. The stories you tell yourself about yourself, that is what is creating your reality. It's creating your grades right now. It's creating your, whether or not you're studying consistently. It's creating whether or not you're creating a schedule consistently. It's creating the relationship you have with your professor. It's creating the relationship you have with your partner while you're in college. It's creating the relationship that you have with your kids while you're in college. It's creating the stress over all of that. Is your self-concept. That needs to change first. Your self-identity, your self-concept, the stories you tell yourself about yourself needs to change first. The moment that that clicks in and that changes, it's not hard to come up with habits anymore. It's not hard to show up for yourself. It's not hard to do the reading anymore. It becomes a part of who you are. What I do with students is I help them get really clear on that self-concept, their future self, who they want to become. Because the moment that they can align with that, the schedule becomes really easy to make. The decisions about how to study become really easy to make. You're not negotiating with yourself. Should I study? Should I not study? Should I? No. Because you're so clear on who you are. You're so clear on who you want to become. That of course you're going to choose the thing that's going to get you to where it is that you want to be, because you see very clearly what happens when you don't. You feel the consequences now because you're so in tune, you're so aligned, you're so like, this is my life. I am creating it right now. That energy that you see me embodying right now is what makes a good student a good student. It's that conviction that they are. And that's what I help students create for themselves. So this is the end of day 1. Tomorrow, which is day 2 of Smart Enough, the art of becoming a good student, I'm going to go in detail. Like, you're not going to be confused. You're going to know exactly what to do at every hour of every second of your semester around creating your schedule, creating your study routine, and focusing on your mindset. That's what we're going to cover tomorrow in detail. I'm going to give it all to you as though you paid me for it. If you know that you want support doing this, you've watched all my videos, you've been a part of the Facebook group for forever, you've been stalking me on Instagram, you've been on the fence, you've hit rock bottom, You think that good students shouldn't ask for help? Guess what? I'm working with all the good students and they're asking for help. Just saying. They're good students because they ask for help. My calendar is open for you to schedule a call with me to learn more about my Your Best Semester Yet one-on-one academic coaching program. This is where we work on who you want to become as a student, your self-concept, your belief, the story you want to tell about yourself. We work on the schedule, the study routine, the other life things that need to be in order so that you can become that person. And every week I'm helping you through the overwhelm, the stress, the decisions, the drama that comes up so that you can stick with it. So you can continue to show up and achieve that goal of earning your degree so that you can make more money and live the life it is that you want. Because let's be honest, that's the reason why any of us are going to school. Yes, we're passionate about X, Y, Z, whatever. Bullshit. We need the degree to get the better job so we can have the life we want. Okay? It's that simple. My calendar is open. I'm going to drop the link in the chat if you're interested. I'll put it on Facebook as well. And Claudia, who is a past student, she just graduated nursing school, and also with A's and B's, by the way. And because she does everything that I tell her to do, because she goes through this process. Kimberly's on here too, and she doesn't even stress about school anymore because it's just that simple. Those 3 things that I talk about. You can schedule a consult with me. Like I said, I have 10 spots right now. 4 are already gone. I didn't even have to do anything for them. These are students that have been waiting to work with me, wanting to work with me. They snatched them up. I guarantee you that the next 6 spots are going to go just as fast. So if you are even a little bit curious, I recommend that you just schedule that call with me, have a conversation. I'm not going to pressure you into anything. This is just for you to get a feel for if this is something that you want to help yourself. I know I'm good at what I do. I don't have anything to prove. The students who are ready to work with me are ready to work with me, and those are who are rock and roll with. That's it. Okay? I will see you back here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern for day 2. We're going to get all the details on how to exactly create your schedule, how to actually make your study routine, and how to get your belief to the point where you actually show up for your schedule and your routine. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. And everyone, you're so welcome. I love you all. I love doing this. I will see you tomorrow. Get ready because it's about to blow your mind.